Welcome, everyone, to a flip through of the Voidspire Territories, a setting book for machine gods of the Noxian Expanse. Set in the sprawling city of Voidspire, built around a massive decaying data center, players navigate a world where the ruling glass lords, circuit priests, and conduit knights vie for power, while the common folk struggle to survive in the shadow of the machine god known as the God of 10,000 Glowing Eyes. This richly detailed setting offers a unique blend of science fiction, medieval fantasy, and dystopian themes, perfect for campaigns filled with intrigue, exploration, and survival. Let's get to a flip through here. As always, there is a third-party license, so you may publish your creations inspired by this work, even for commercial purposes. All right, I love the art. So this is the first image in the book. It's always amazing. And the Voidspire Territories, so it's a region dominated by the city of Voidspire, which is a massive settlement built into and around a mountain-sized data center. So as we get into this, you'll come to learn that the powerful houses and factions here that dominate the upper levels of the Voidspire are the Glass Lords and Circuit Priests, while the lower levels house the common folk struggling to make a living. So there's stark contrasts in the Voidspire Territories where ancient Czech technology and the harsh reality of living in the Noxian Expanse coexist. The people here are deeply religious, worshiping the machine god that rules over the Voidspire, known as the God of 10,000 Glowing Eyes, who's both a protector and a capricious deity. So in addition to the Glass Lords that reside in opulent estates, circuit priests that are at the core of the religious expression, there are also the conduit knights that are clad in powered armor, believed to be blessed in magical relics. There's a history in here of the Voidspire Territory, talks about the golden age of humanity coming to an end in the catastrophe known as the Nexus Prime. Like many other technological wonders, was left to decay. The Voidspire Territories, so the Voidspire is at the center of the Voidspire Territories. We'll walk through both the levels of the Voidspire as well as some of the surrounding areas of interest around the Voidspire, including Blackrock and the Blackrock mine. There's a lot of history on the political landscape of the Voidspire Territories, and the city itself is a complex web of power struggles. So there's a lot of rich role-playing opportunities here, and there's a lot of detail that we'll walk through, but also enough open-endedness to give you your own ability to add to the history if you'd like. And the Glass Lords are locked in a power struggle, and the city is ruled by a council formed by 5 of the most powerful families. And right now, those are House Etherglass, House Luminos, House Dawnrise, Stormmight, and House Crystalheart. There's a little more information on the Voidspire society and the common folk as the backbone of the society. Mobility is pretty much non-existent as far as moving up in the socioeconomic position. So really the conduit knights are a few commoners. There are a few commoners that can join the conduit knights. More information on the Voidspire economy. And there's a nice timeline that gives you enough flavor of what some of the key events that have happened in the Voidspire Territories. So you'll see a number of events, but there's also enough gaps if you'd like to create your own information. Character backgrounds. So we'll walk through some of the character backgrounds here. And if you want to start your journey in the Noxian Expanse as a character coming from the Voidspire Territories, then we recommend that you use the background tables that are presented here. So there's a D20 table here that will give you a number of different character backgrounds: scavengers, glass lord bastards, wandering merchants, market hustlers, couriers, miners, outlying village farmers, and some flavor description to give you a little more detail of how you're connected to the Voidspire Territories. Another amazing image. If you look really closely, I won't tell you. You can probably see it, but if you look closely, it comes into focus for me at least a little bit more. I love this image. Love the colors. Places of interest. So the city-state of Voidspire sits at the center of this territories, and it's by far the largest settlement in the region. Population of about 500,000 people. Nighttime is much more dangerous than the daytime. The conduit knights don't patrol nearly as much in the evening, so there's a lot more opportunity for encounters at night. And each 30 minutes you spend navigating during the night, you'll roll on the nighttime encounters. Here's an image that shows you the structure of the city of Voidspire, starting at the very bottom with the maintenance tunnel, memory crypts, working your way up to the warrens, the basilica, the barracks, and then finally the upper levels and the seat of the council. And we'll walk through each of these a bit in the following pages. So here's a table of the nighttime encounters, a D100 table, so quite a few opportunities for events that could occur as you're walking through and exploring the city. What's in their pockets? This is a detail of what could be in the pockets of folks that you find as you're exploring. And this is something that is in a lot of our materials, or the materials, a lot of the books and games, more ability to solo role play. So in this case, this is a generating plot and conspiracies. So if you want to kind of simulate an ongoing conspiracy for you or your players, if you're playing as a group, then you can roll 5 times on the conspiracy generator table that we'll walk through next. So here's the table. So there's a lot of colorful, evocative descriptions of things that could help you with generating conspiracies. So you can roll 5 times on this and give yourself a web of intrigue. All right, so going from the top down of the Voidspire, we'll start at the upper levels. And the upper levels are where the Glass Lords have their residence, and they're usually restricted to those serving the lords or priests directly. There's different levels of the upper levels. So the lowest of the upper levels is where the barracks are found. So the conduit knights are headquartered here. The whole level is taken by the organization, and that's where they train and prepare for their dedication of service to the Voidspire. The seat of the council, which is situated at the upper levels of the Voidspire, is a large section dedicated purely for government purposes. And here's where the Council of Five meets, planning and dictating over the city and its territories. Last but not least of the upper echelons is the circuit priests, are also called the upper levels home. So that's where they deal with kind of daily with council and other important figures in the government. There's also a number of notable NPCs. So it starts with Lady Luminara here, a House of Luminos, but you get a number of key NPCs from each of the houses that we talked about before. So I encourage you to read these. Again, a good description of each one that really makes them all come to life. You see quite a few in addition to those. There's high priestesses, there's knight captains, there's agents, knight lieutenants, hidden nine Nysa. There are quite a few to really make the setting come to life. The basilica. So the basilica is situated between the upper levels and the warrens, and it's the main interface point with the machine god and the center of religious power. The basilica houses sacred terminals through which the machine god communicates their cryptic outputs interpreted by the circuit priests. So below the basilica, the next level is the warrens, and the warrens are the beating heart of the Voidspire's lower levels. It's a sprawling, chaotic district where the common folk live and make out a living as best they can. It's a patchwork of makeshift homes and shops built by salvaged materials. See, the Grand Bazaar is the bustling heart of the Warrens, so it's a sprawling marketplace where merchants, scavengers, laborers trade goods ranging from food and clothing to ancient relics. It's filled with stalls and carts, and it's kind of a bustling area where folks come to trade. And so again, there are a lot of notable NPCs that you can find in this section. There's Sister Lania, Jackson the Scavenger, Farron the Informant, and again, a very descriptive explanation of each of these as you kind of learn about the various Voidspire territories. Memory crypts and maintenance tunnels. So this is now you're beneath the lowest level of the Warrens, and this is a network of maintenance tunnels and hidden passages used by smugglers and those seeking to avoid the watchful eyes of the Glass Lords. The tunnels are dangerous. They're filled with remnants of ancient machinery, occasional rogue drone. Some of them connect to the memory crypt, which is considered completely forbidden to most, but it's pillaged often by scavengers and looters. The entrance to the memory crypts are well guarded. The maintenance tunnels that connect the crypts in several different points, though. And the entrance to the memory crypt is a grand cathedral hall-like filled with ancient statues. So as you explore the tunnels and crypts under the city, it's kind of a singular place. Using the ruin mapping rules found in the core rules, skipping the size and special rune that are necessary here. So for all effects and purposes, the maintenance tunnel and crypts are infinite. They go on forever. You must bring a light source. And when it comes to ruin events and encounters, you're going to use the tables that we're going to flip through next. So quite a few events that you can uncover while exploring the tunnels and crypts. All kinds of things you can run into: ancient armor, ancient statues, forgotten chambers, ancient reliquaries, even a lost child. You could encounter a collapse. And in addition, there's also artifacts that you might find that are powerful, that are that you could discover beneath the Warrens in these tunnels and crypts. Gauntlets of Earth Strength, Mirror of Fractured Reflections, all kinds of things you can locate. So the factions, we talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but although there's a number of minor factions, there are three key organizations that really shape the politics and daily life. And those are the Glass Lords, the Circuit Priests, and the Conduit Knights. And there's obviously a constant power struggle. They're supposed to be, for the most part, on the same side, but there's a constant power struggle between these. And you will track your faction reputation. So there's 5 ranks for each faction. New players start at rank 1, and each time you complete a mission for a faction, you roll a d6. If the result is higher than your current rank, you progress to the next one. So you can constantly work to level up within the factions. All right, working for the Glass Lords. So if you align yourself with the Glass Lords and try to work your way up, this gives you all of the ranks that you can attain and what privileges come with those ranks. So you'll contact Lord Herrick, who works from his office in the upper levels. And then again, you'll start at the lowest level as Freeman with certain privileges, and you'll work your way up to Vassal, Warden, Steward, and finally Court Lord. And in addition to privileges, there are also certain responsibilities that come with it. You're going to have to engage in these responsibilities as you progress up through the ranks in the Glass Lords. So next, you could work for the Circuit Priests. So the ranks, again, represent the influence and privileges within this religious hierarchy. The final rank, which is Sanctified, is the highest level that you can attain as a player character. And if you get there, that represents a deep bond of trust with the Circuit Priests. Your contact will be Father Amon. And again, you're going to start at the level of Freeman. Everyone starts as kind of a freeman. That's what you are when you're unaligned. But then you'll progress to Acolyte, Relic Keeper, Hidden Eye, and then finally Sanctified. And there are some pretty powerful privileges you get as you work your way up through the various levels. So working for the Conduit Knight. So if you work for the Conduit Knights, there's a level of military hierarchy that you're going to aspire to be. The highest that you will be able to attain is called the Knight Errant. And your contact is Lieutenant Murkish. Again, you're starting at the Freeman, which is the lowest rank, but you'll work your way up to Auxiliary, Field Agent, Tactical Advisor, and finally Knight Errant. All right, so In and around the Voidspire, throughout the Voidspire territory, there are other key places of interest. And the first that we'll talk about is Blackrock. So Blackrock is a bustling settlement built 100 years ago or so. That's the primary hub for coal mining in the Voidspire territory. It's a vital part of the territory, supplying the coal needed to power the ancient machinery in the city of Voidspire. So there's a description of the layout, the walls, the town square, the coal district, and Chapel of the Forge. So a number of locations within Blackrock that you can read and flesh out as you'd like as you explore the Voidspire territories. There's in addition to the Voidspire having its own culture and society, the Blackrock has its own as well. And the people of Blackrock are defined by hard work and resilience. They're proud of their work and their contribution to the Voidspire territories and really see themselves as the backbone of the region with the coal that's powering the entire system. The economy, so obviously the economy is centered around coal mining. There's also a blacksmith and crafting. That's a key part of the economy, as well as a hub of trade. There's a little background here on the current situation within Blackrock. So there's some growing pains. There's some threats that are coming from the wasteland, which puts Blackrock under threat from raiders, beasts, and other dangers of the wasteland. There's a rivalry with Voidspire, and obviously something you can build out more if you'd like. But as the people of Blackrock begin to chafe under the control of the Glass Lords, some believe that the settlement should be independent. There's some notable NPCs you can find and interact with in Blackrock. And there's also some plot hooks that you could look at and ways for the players to become more attached to, or to another way for them to need to explore, a reason to explore Blackrock. Okay, so outside of Blackrock, there's a Blackrock mine, which is a sprawling network of tunnel and chambers carved into the earth situated east of Blackrock. So they're dark and damp, filled with constant sound of pickaxes. So you can imagine all these workers constantly working to get coal out of this mine. The mine's layout, so there's some description of the detail of the mine's layout, the entrance, the main shaft, the coal seams, cart tracks, all kinds of things that you could explore within the mine. There's also various dangers that you could be exposed to within the Blackrock mine. Havens, gas leak, flooding, and even rogue drones. And again, there's a number of notable NPCs that are fleshed out a bit here that you could encounter, as well as plot hooks. So rescue missions, maybe a mine collapse, strange phenomenon that have been reported in the tunnels, sabotage in the mines, and obviously you can also create your own. So outside of the Blackrock mine, there are also other settlements and farmlands. So there's some minor settlements that won't be described in detail here, but certainly you could flesh them out if you'd like. But they're mostly small farming communities like Stonebridge Hamlet, but there are also some military camps, such as Emberwatch Outpost. And these settlements, provide the backbone of the territories right there. Food, resources, labor to sustain the region. And, it's an area that's often overlooked by the rulers. All right, getting into the creatures of the Voidspire territory. So there's 15 new creatures that you will find and have stats to. The stats that you'll see here as we flip through are all described in the core rulebook. But we'll start with the circuit priests. And again, they're members of the Voidspire's clergy. So you can get a little sense of their power, how many you will encounter if you do encounter them, their standard attack, what type of special attacks they have, and also their loot. Conduit Knight recruits, so the lower level of Conduit Knights. There's Conduit Knight veterans. There's also Crypt Guards. So these are ancient robotic guards repurposed by Voidspire's elite to guard the crypts under the city. Crypt Rats. So these are large rodents. There's got to be rats in every setting, right? I feel like there has to be. So you might encounter some Crypt Rats, Glass Lords, which again are members of the ruling class, Grimclaw Nanodrakes. These are large reptiles commonly found in dark, damp places, and they have a natural metallic. Hidden Eyes. This is a member of a Hidden Eye organization that work directly for the circuit priests. There's reanimated lords, which are members of the nobility, reanimated thanks to billions of nanites crawling within their bodies. There's rogue maintenance drones, smugglers, steel weavers, which are spider-like constructs that weave strong webs out of metal-like substance, setting up deadly traps in the dark tunnels. Tomb robbers, tunnel ghouls, and also Voidspire thugs. So that's it. That's the overview that I wanted to give for the setting. And I did want to make sure that you know where you can find this now. So I will quickly flip over to the main screen here and show you can find it today on itch.io. And I will drop links in the description below, but you can find the Voidspire Territory here for €15 for the PDF on itch.io. You can also get a copy on Amazon, a paperback copy. Currently, it's at $25. I don't know if there's any Amazon Prime thing will be happening shortly with Prime Day, but right now you can buy the paperback on Amazon Prime. And then finally, you can also go to Drive-Thru RPG. So you can get the PDF for $15. You can also get the softcover book, and then finally the hardcover. So I hope that was a helpful overview. Let's go back to the top for a second. And I would encourage you all to check this out. It is a wonderful setting, very evocative. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And until the next video, enjoy all of the Black Oath Entertainment games. Thanks all.